It's like you're like literally half awake and half asleep at the same time. It's so hard to describe.
But
It's just
why
one of
is
those
it
things
always
like
bad? Why
it's
is-
just scary.
It's
like,
why is it scary? Why can't
It's
it be
because
good?
when you come out of like a dream and you're paralyzed because you're still half asleep, it's like your mind recognizes you're awake, but your body physically is still asleep.
yeah.
So, I've had it where, I'm in a car and, my dad and my sister are up front and, and I know I'm awake, but my eyes are closed and I can't lift my eyes up. I can't move and I'm just hearing auditory hallucinations. I'm just completely fucked. And, if you don't recognize that it's sleep paralysis, your mind just turns to the darkest, scariest shit that it can possibly do.
Really?
Yeah. So
Why does it do that?
Don't know.
It's just fucking human nature.
It's like
man.
they always
I guess
describe like
instinct
there's like
could be evolution
Instinct. Why would your mind instinctively go to the worst shit imaginable?
because
might
it's,
be to
it's,
try
it's,
wake you
it's
up.
to I guess
You're just taking a nap and your brain's like, your mother never loved you.
No, it's like survival. It's like
Fight or flight.
It's why the reason why people think that there are nightmares where you're getting chased. It's because it's primal. It's supposed to like our ancient ancestors. They'd go to sleep and their stress dream would be they're being chased by predators or there's something lurking in the darkness, and that's supposed to reinforce survival. So that when you wake up, you're reminded of your mortality and that you need to stay alert and all of that shit.
K-streams are awesome. Have you ever had like a full-on like Mission Impossible Matrix-style dream where it's just action-packed and you love it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had an almost lucid dream once where like it was up to me to stop a terrorist attack. Like a bomb was at the very top of this tower, and the entire dream was me just like running to the tower, like dodging mobsters that were shooting at me, and then trying to climb up the spiral
fucking
staircase
sick.
and
That's
like
so cool.
killing people with a silenced USP on the way up. And then I honestly can't remember how it ended. I probably fucked up and killed everyone, but I mean, the rest of it was
kinda
awesome.
sick.
The rest of it was
sick while it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say with the sleep paralysis ones are really weird because like when you're in the dream, like everything feels different. Like the one common thing I keep hearing like people describe is like you'll sense like a presence or something. Like you'll see someone walk into the room and leave, or it's like it feels like you'll be looking at someone in the dream, or like not even someone, like you can't see him. It'll be like a dark shadow, and it feels like there's like staring into your
Shadow
soul.
people.
It's just
Definitely a
like staring
clown.
at you. Yeah.
It's definitely just a
And
clown.
the other one is
Recently-
like someone like sitting
James
on you, like you
Charles.
feel a weight too.
James Charles.
James Charles,
Yeah,
look
James
at your
Charles.
foot of your bed.
You wake up and James Charles is at the foot of your bed
Hi,
at 3 a.m.
sisters.
blowing you.
He's just like whoop, whoop, whoop. Recently, I've been like, if I'm up really late and like no one else in the house is awake and all the lights are off in my room and stuff, and I'll be lying in bed. If I'm like, I could be like watching a YouTube video on my laptop or something, and then all of a sudden I just feel like I'm being watched, and I feel like there's someone in my
It
house.
feels like that, but in your
Yeah,
dream, it's
and
so
like,
weird.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I know that's normal. Well, not normal, but like it happens.
I live
Definitely
alone. I get
felt
that every day.
Yeah, but it's like it's fucking creepy, man.
Yeah.
And then I've had times where like because I've watched horror movies my whole life as well, which means this is new to me. But also, I have all of the horror movie shit in the background of my
Oh,
mind,
shit.
Right.
like, oh yeah, what if there is something just watching me, or like something in my room, and I would just
Probably
have to turn the
spider.
light on and stuff.
Or like a bug.
There's no way that there's an actual instinct for being
No,
watched.
There isn't. Scientists have tested it. Apparently, there isn't. There's
Yeah.
no sixth sense.
There's no way that it
What
exists.
about if there's like a crowd and someone's like staring at you? Like eventually you'll like catch their gaze, like you just.
This is chance.
No,
I mean, like
yeah.
you're bound to look around at some point and see someone, and like you wouldn't know. Like there's probably countless times you've been in a crowd and someone's been looking at you and you just never saw it.
that's true.
But you'll catch them one.
And you're like, oh, then for sure it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just paranoia and anxiety. This is why like I can't watch horror movies because I think my psychology is just a sucker for all the tricks they play on you. And it always makes me dwell, especially because I live alone and I also live next to an old house with an old man who lives there that I've never seen his face, but I've only seen him whistling and walking around the backyard, and he kind of scares me to this day.
I think the thing that triggered it for me. I think the thing that triggered it for me was recently I've watched a lot of those Ask Reddit videos, and I was watching one at like 5 a.m. I was watching one where it was like, what's the creepiest thing that's ever actually happened to you? And it was just like, it was a lot of the stories were like police. And they're like, oh yeah, we turn up to this call and then there was people standing outside the house and then they would disappear. And like stuff like that. And I was watching that one night and it was like 5 a.m. I was like, wait, why the fuck am I watching this right now?
Yeah.
And I had to close my laptop. And then ever since then, I think that was what triggered it. I've had those kind of thoughts of like, is someone watching me right now?
It's so
Is there
funny
someone in
that
my room?
out of all the horror movies you've seen, the Ask Reddit thread is what got you.
It's because horror movies are fake and these are stories that people are saying are true.
But
They're
it's
saying
Reddit.
it's true.
I think your mind's telling you just the internet's real scary.
No, it'll be things like, oh yeah, like someone broke into my house and I was still in the house and like, you know, I saw them walking around and stuff, and it's like, that sort of shit will fuck me up.
Yeah.
I
That's
can
why
watch
you have a
any
gun.
horror movie as long as it's not super realistic. Like,
Well, because you know it's a horror movie. You're like, oh, this is
super
fake.
basic.
What about like have you seen any of the fucking Ted Bundy documentaries
No, I
or
haven't
anything like
watched
that?
those yet. They wouldn't screw with me. I
Nah.
don't
Why
think.
not?
I
Because
watched
that's
it.
a real thing that happened.
Yeah,
That shit's crazy.
Yeah, serial
Or like-
killers. They're interesting.
Yeah, like serial killer shit like always fucks with me.
my shit is more like people breaking into my house or something. Or
But that's serial
well,
killer
like,
shit.
kidnapping thing.
I mean, granted, you're not like an attractive young woman who's jogging late at night, but still, like this shit,
Yeah.
you never know. If you're listening to this, maybe you're being watched right now.
Maybe it could be a
That's
gay serial
fine.
killer.
That's
That's all I know.
Sorry about that. Sorry, just distressed hundreds of people because only hundreds of people listen to this thing. Let's be honest.
the only horror movies that fucked me up were realistic ones where it's like either like kidnapping or breaking into people's houses and stuff like that, where it's like that could theoretically happen, or exorcism ones because
Really?
That shit to me is the-
exorcisms actually happen, and it's like whether like well look, exorcisms may not be real, obviously, but they do happen. Like people do actually perform exorcisms, whether anything fucking happens
Yeah,
or
yeah.
not. I don't believe that actually anything happens, but when I watch an exorcism movie, it just makes me think people like priests actually do this shit. That's fucking weird, and it makes me sometimes go like, what if that shit's real?
Yeah.
Although that was more when I was a kid. I haven't watched an exorcism movie
I
in
don't-
fucking ages.
I don't believe in ghosts, spirits, demons, any of that shit. So.
Do you guys have
What
any-
about commies? Those scare you?
They're the
No,
worst.
because I'm armed.
What were you gonna say, Jay?
Do you guys have any scary stories that people have told you, or
I-
just
on the
any
th-
experiences?
on the train of thought relating to the Reddit thing, there was a thread I remember from way back in the day that I read when I was in university, which was like, what is the scariest photo on the internet? And like, there are a bunch of your typical like serial killer, like documented photos and stuff. And I was like, okay, like this is just gory, like that's fine. But there was this one like halfway down the thread where, and there was a description to go along with it. Basically, the photo was of two guys standing on the Grand Canyon. Like someone took it from like another kind of cliff. They're standing on the edge, and just behind them, where they couldn't see, the photographer should have been able to see this person. There was this hooded man with a pale face, dressed fully in black, just like half in the trees and just like staring. And like the caption was, my uncle and his friend took this photo. It was supposed to be a gag because like they were throwing a fishing line over the Grand
Right.
Canyon. That's the
Yeah,
joke.
yeah.
And they took this photo and they didn't realize that this other guy was in the shot until like they went back into the car and looked at it. And it's like, who the fuck is this guy
Yeah.
who's just out here in the Grand Canyon when no one else is around, dressed
Yeah.
fully in black, and he's literally in the photo. Granted, it could just be fake,
Staged.
but it seemed pretty real to me. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe it's real. I don't know. That
Any personal scary shit? Any like ghost stories? Any-
My nan's uncle or brother. It was this. She told me this when I was like 8 or 9 or something. I was really young and naive. And
nice one, Nan.
yeah. It fucked me up. Well, pretty much, he had like a heart attack, and he was on the table, and because my nan's really religious and stuff, he and my nan's uncle wasn't at all, but pretty much he was on the table. He had a heart attack, and he was like going pretty much. He was about to die and that sort of stuff. They were operating on him.
In the kitchen table?
No, not the table.
operating
Like
table.
not operating table.
The hospital.
I must have zoned out for like
Sorry,
one
the
word there.
hospital. And pretty much he recalled being taken like down out of his body by these two massive beings with like wings and shit. He had like chains all over his body. He was fully naked, and he was just going down, down, and down. And he felt like heat, like just hot in the heat, like hearing screams and all that shit, and like the worst smell known to man. And like,
Dude, deadass went to hell.
yeah, exactly. And they
Damn.
brought him back, and holy
Crazy.
shit.
You ever ask him what he did to deserve to go to hell?
I don't know. He's probably just fucking
He was probably just tripping balls on DMT.
yeah. Like I
Just
don't know.
dying and his fucking
but that
brain
fucked me
was
up when I was
just
little. I
popping
was
him
like,
up.
holy shit, is that
Yeah, because isn't that how DMT works? Does it get released as you're dying?
It's
What's
rumored.
the deal with that?
It's rumored. It's
Yeah.
a lot of people say that DMT occurs in the brain. It's a lot of people will be like, when you die, near-death experience is just a DMT trip.
I mean, it would explain the whole like seeing the light and stuff like that, and then
near-death
people like
experience,
get resurrected,
like the tunneling,
like doing surgery and shit.
just out-of-body experience. A lot of people put that on that when in times of really great stress and when your body starts to shut down, your brain releases DMT, and then you start to trip sack, and then that's what happens before you die. I don't know how much legitimacy there is to it because I don't think it's been studied.
It's entirely possible.
Entirely possible.
Okay. All right.
We're just going to
Jamie,
talk about,
pull that up real
We're just
quick.
going to talk about chimps real quick, and we're officially the Joe Rogan podcast.
It's odd. I read a lot about near-death experiences. They're very interesting.
Yeah.
Back when I was going through my existential crisis and I was fucking really afraid of dying, which I'm sure we've all been through.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anybody?
Never.
No, really.
It's coming up soon then.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I've never had I get afraid of. I mean, I get like adrenaline. Like when I went skydiving, obviously adrenaline gets released because there's a thought in
Right.
the back of your mind that you could die. But I've never had been through a phase where I fear.
You've never contemplated your own mortality?
I've
Really?
contemplated it many times. I just don't. I've never felt like sickened by it or fear it. It's weird. You think I would, given that I'm afraid of fucking horror movies.
Right.
But for like that bigger picture, it's like I know I'm gonna die one day, and I've always been pretty chill with that. I remember I was in high school, and my friend was saying that he was going through a period where he was just like contemplating this mortality, and it was making him real fucking sad and weirded out.
Yeah.
I just couldn't understand it. I was like, obviously, I was sympathetic towards him,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
personally, I couldn't relate to that experience at all.
I've had friends that have gone through it in high school. I've friends that have gone through it in college.
I'll probably get it when I'm like 50.
You'll have
Yeah, I mean,
you'll just have a midlife
like,
crisis.
it-
You won't have the quarter life crisis. That's all.
It fucks people up.
Yeah,
it
I've heard.
really fucks
Oh yeah,
them up.
for sure.
They,
Definitely seen it.
a friend of mine, he was happy-go-lucky the first 2 years I met him, and then he just all of a sudden just started thinking about, oh my God, I'm going to die. It's not fair. I love being alive, and I'm like, dude, you're like fucking, I'm like you're early mid-20s. You know?
I don't
Why are you
understand-
why are you freaking out about it? And that was like, that's how I got out of mine, because I was like, look,
Yeah.
if I die in a car accident, I'm not going to see it coming anyways.
Yeah.
I'm
That's-
just going to fucking live until I die.
Yeah.
And you just come to accept that.
I get that a lot. I mean, I've never understood how people could get that so young, because whenever I get anxiety about things like that, I always tell myself that I always do that train of thought. Like on the way to today, even, I was running slightly late and I was in traffic and I was getting irritated by it. And then I was like, this is out of my control, so it's fine. Like there's nothing I can do. I'm just going to enjoy the drive. And then it was like, boom, I'm good. Like I no longer felt stressed or tense about being in traffic. I just blasted the tunes and I was good to go. So yeah, I mean, that's
Very much in the mindset you choose to be in.
yeah,
There's a choice, obviously.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to meditate, my dudes.
Yeah.
Meditate.
I
Like
tried
Gandhi.
meditation.
Praise be.
And
I've been trying it recently. I've been using Sam Harris's app, which is pretty good for like walking you through it, because at the beginning, if you just try and meditate, all your thoughts are is like, I'm not doing this right. This feels weird. Like you just can't focus on your breathing or anything. You can't empty your mind. And like what he does is he has like a daily thing where like, it's like, I think the first 50 days he guides you through it. And there's also like lessons and shit. And he's kind of like talking in a calm voice while you're doing it, which you might think would be distracting. But like the whole point of meditation is that you should be able to hear background noise and people talking and still be able to do it.
right.
And he's really just guiding you through on like what to focus on. And like, it's good because at the very end of the sessions, he's like, for the last minute, he'll be like, if you feel like you've screwed up or you feel like you haven't been doing it properly for the last 10 minutes, that's okay. Just start again for this last minute and see if you can do it. And it's good. It makes you feel like you didn't just waste your time for like, because that's pretty much how it is when you begin.
People aren't used to clearing their minds.
Yeah.
Everything's
Fucking
on everybody's
hard.
mind
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. And meditation really isn't, I guess, about anything that spiritual anymore, as far as it is just about being mindful and about
Being aware and like in the moment,
just
present.
Yeah, just being present and
That's
just
why I like fishing with my dad. It's just really relaxing.
Yeah.
And and we could be completely happy just sitting in silence.
yes.
And just casting the pole and waiting for a fish to bite. And then when the fish bites, it's like, whoa! And then you fucking reel it in, and then
Yeah.
and then you just sit down and bullshit.
Allowing yourself to just
everyone-
be content with moments that you would typically consider being boring. Like let's say you're waiting for something And like normally the response to that is like, I'll go on my phone and I'll browse and I'll play a game or whatever.
Right.
Like just being able to be like, I'm waiting and that's okay, and just being alone with your thoughts for a little bit, I think is like pretty important nowadays, because we never really get a second to just fucking chill out and just be like in our own heads and figure things out and walk things through. Easier said than done for some people, I guess. But
it's so easy, like when you're standing in line literally anywhere for more than like 2 minutes, you're like, oh,
it's like phone, boom.
Instant,
And this is like pretty cringy and cliche to talk about these days, because mindfulness is all the craze and it's like very in vogue, but you know,
it's like a buzzword.
It's true for a reason, I guess.
Was reading about something interesting. It's not the same, but it's you know, like have you ever thought about the fact that, you know, as guys, we can, you know, you can hang out with someone and you could hang out with them for a few hours and not really talk to them at all, but just be content in their company and just enjoy being with them.
Yeah.
I was reading about how apparently,
what do you mean as guys?
No, this is what I was reading about. Apparently women like struggle with that.
Oh,
apparently,
again, like, women have another problem.
Because, like, I mean, have you ever noticed, like, I know that personally, when I would hang out with someone, right?
That was a joke, by the way, woman. Sorry about that.
When I'd hang out with my friends and I'll get home, my mum would always be like asking a bunch of questions about them, and the answer would always be, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you guys talk about if you don't talk about like how school's going and shit like that? It's like, well, we just kind of talk about whatever we're doing at that moment.
We just bask in each other's masculine aura,
yeah,
Mom.
Exactly. But
you understand, Mom?
no, I mean, it was this thing I was reading was talking about how like a lot of women will think that their boyfriend is lying about what they're doing, because they'll say that they hang out with their friend, but then they can't answer any questions about like what their friend's been up to and stuff. And it's just because so many guys just hang out with their friend to hang out with their friend, and they will only really talk about what's happening at that moment, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And apparently women don't do that as much.
I love having a good silence with someone. The only thing the only thing that freaks me out about it is I'll worry that they're not enjoying it as much as I am.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm very content with the silence.
I think say something.
I think it's good that we're just chilling, but like I'm worried that they're thinking that it's awkward. You know?
Well, I mean, that's a really good sign of friendship. Like really good friendship between guys is when you can have two people be together for a long period of time and not really talk, but just be happy being with each other. Like I remember I had friends when I was younger, and you know, would have sleepovers and stuff and would talk like shit all, but it would be playing games all night, or you know, just watching movies, fucking aggressively. It was great.
Loudly.
I guess, you know, this, I don't know if that's true about
I don't
the
know
woman
if it's true
thing
or not.
Obviously, this is just a study that you read.
Yeah, it was what I read.
But, you know, wouldn't surprise me. I mean, women are pretty average, so.
Have you ever seen the meme where it's like the wife is in bed with her husband, and she's like, "What? Wonder what he's thinking about. He must be cheating on me." And the guy's mind is just like, "Oh, my fucking bike won't start. God damn it! I wonder what the fuck is wrong."
Like, I
with
wonder why Doritos are shaped like a triangle. Something like that.
Yeah, something fucking retarded.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing with like, what are you thinking about?
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend that used to do that all the time, and it pissed me off.
What are you thinking
like,
about?
We'd be walking around, and she'd be like, "What are you thinking about right now?" It's like, literally nothing. I'm thinking about the fact that we're walking down a street.
Really?
You know?
I don't think I'm ever just thinking about the fact that I'm walking down the street.
I think about some fucking dumb shit all the time.
Yeah, just say nothing because you're too embarrassed to say the dumb thing you're thinking
dude,
about.
Recently, when people ask me what I'm thinking about, like, I'll just answer, like, honestly what I'm thinking about, because it usually makes them laugh. You know?
Yeah.
Just because it's always some retarded bullshit. Just on my
everyone
mind.
thinks about retarded bullshit though. It's I do it all the time just to entertain myself.
Exactly.
Sometimes I'll just think about
like a
the most fucked
distraction
up
more than
shit
anything.
imaginable just to entertain myself.
make
Sometimes
myself
I'll say it
laugh.
out loud just to entertain myself and those around me. Yeah. Men, am I right?
Hell yeah.
You guys want to hear about this weird porn I watched?
Absolutely.
So last night, and after I did this, I was like, I got to talk about this on the podcast.
That's a story.
I watch a lot of like haul videos. You know, people just like buying clothes and then trying them on, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I thought you meant just videos of hauls.
and
They said horror videos.
and because I watch these videos, it means every now and again I'll get recommended a different YouTuber that does them, right? And there's a lot of the time it'll be one that has like millions of views, and it's because they're trying on lingerie, bikinis, or sportswear.
Yeah.
And the thumbnail will be like their ass or something, you know, and they get millions of views, and on their channel they get like no views on any of their other videos. It'll be like 10,000 views, but then this one will have like millions.
Okay.
So I I was on Pornhub last night, and
As
on
you
the
do.
Shout out.
homepage,
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
Code Misfits.
on the homepage, I just saw this thumbnail that didn't look like porn, and it was just this Asian woman sitting clothed, looking at a webcam like a YouTube thumbnail, and it said "try on haul," and I was like, I'm kind of curious what this is, so I clicked on it. It's the first thing you see is this black page with writing on it that says "skip to 2 minutes for naked boobs," and then it just disappeared, and then it just went into a YouTube video type thing. She was just like, "Hey guys, today I'm going to be trying on this, this, and this."
Was there
And
music in the background?
I think there was a little bit, yeah. And then
Was she like trying on bras and
she was
panties
trying
and
on
shit?
bras, yeah.
Yeah.
So she was just sitting in front of a webcam, taking off her bra, and then putting on another one and talking about it. I watched the entire video, just kind of like watching it, like this is so weird.
Studying.
But then I was like, there's so many videos on YouTube that get millions of views for this. This is an untapped market. Pornhub just needs to become the place where you go to check out lingerie videos.
The real honest reviews. That's where you get in.
honest
The nitty-gritty.
lingerie dildo reviews. It'll be lit.
I think there already are dildo reviews, surely,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think
There's
are.
got to be everything on Pornhub.
Yeah.
I've talked about it on the podcast before, but you guys have seen that British guy who like basically was like tucking you into bed and kissing you good night. And there's nothing graphic about it at all.
Politely declining to go inside with you.
I love that guy.
I feel like
It's like wholesome porn.
His name's like Brett Creamer or something like that as well.
yeah,
It's
it's
hilarious.
something fucking
don't know.
hilarious.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff on Pornhub that is technically pornographic, but it would be kind of weird to jerk off to. Like that whole video I was watching. I feel like it would be so strange to just sit there jacking off to someone trying on
I
clothes.
think the main audience for that is just lonely men who want like a wife
That makes sense.
to just talk to them about their day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that kind of content as well. Not that I would know anything
So
about
sad.
that kind of stuff.
JOIs. Jerk off instructions.
Jerk off instructions.
Just a woman standing there telling you to jerk off and then getting naked.
Imagine
It's like, why would she tell you to do it? I know how to do it better than her. What the fuck?
Imagine a prostitute that you order and she comes over to your house and then she just nags you about not doing chores and says that you don't pay enough attention to her.
But she's also
That-
naked.
And it's the wife experience package.
That wouldn't be a prostitute, that'd be an escort, all right? That'd be
Escort.
classy.
I see.
I feel like JOI, like jerk off instructions, I feel like it's the porn you do if you want to be in porn but you don't want to get naked.
Oh, you mean for the female?
For the female.
They
It's
still
like-
get naked.
Yeah, some of them do, but I've
Not that
seen
I would know anything about that kind of stuff.
I've seen some of them that, because you know how in Pornhub you hover over it and it like skips through the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
All the
seen
juicy
some where it's
parts.
just like they're wearing clothes the whole time, and I'm like, these people are just like, I want to get into the porn market, want to make some money, but I don't want to get naked.
Well, a lot of those girls probably also have like, they're like the Patreon girls who
Yeah.
never actually go fully nude.
Yeah.
And the guys keep watching because they're like, one day she'll drop a nude pic and it's going to be epic. I can finally bust my nut that I've been saving up for 6 months. But it just
That's
never
the thing.
happens.
That's the
Not
thing
that I would
about-
know anything about that kind of
That's the
stuff.
thing about those whole videos, man. It's like, you know that the main reason why they're getting millions of views is because it's horny guys that are like, oh, this looks hot.
Yeah.
They're not going to get naked. It's YouTube. What are you expecting?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean,
Why don't you just
the
go on
lonely,
Pornhub?
the lonely man market on the internet is widely like,
Yeah.
people aren't making enough money off lonely guys.
All right, I'm going to
I'm
take this
out there.
Let's
Wait,
do
Toby,
it.
so when you do like a clothing channel, you just got to do like a lingerie one all the time.
I'm going to take this
Pump the views up.
opportunity to announce my new JOI channel.
I would argue that, and I don't want to call out the entire anyone who watches Twitch streamers, but a large percentage of people who watch Twitch streams are just lonely ass people.
I stream every day and can confirm.
Not that there's anything wrong with being a lonely ass person. We all go through phases. It's totally chill. But there's a lot of people that are just like, they just want a friend and they just want company. And it's the same kind of thing, but just non-pornographic.
I mean, heaps of that, like with Twitch, it's like one, you can feel like you have a relationship with the streamer where, you hang out with them every night and you watch them do that. And also, so many people have such like huge chat communities. I have people that will talk about like, it's almost like they're in a chat room together, but they're in my Twitch chat and they're just discussing their lives and stuff.
Yeah.
And they do it every day. And just,
Yeah.
through Twitch, people develop these huge communities of people that just kind of live online.
Yeah. And it's fine. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to call these people out because,
You're
like
all
I said,
lonely fucking losers.
Everyone goes through lonely periods of their life, and it's totally cool if Twitch is your coping mechanism. I think Discord is another big one for that.
Oh, Discord is huge.
It's
I think,
interesting.
which is good for like background noise though. Sometimes,
yeah,
If
oh,
you're just
no.
like if you're like just even like us, like editing.
Yeah,
if you're
I'm
sitting
not-
there for hours, it's good to
I'm-
have like background noise.
I'm not saying that everyone who watches Twitch is lonely. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that there's a big portion of the audience that does do it for that reason.
Don't some Twitch streamers like they'll be in a relationship, but they'll never divulge or acknowledge
Yeah,
the
they'll
fact
keep
that
it
they're in a
private.
relationship, so that
Yeah.
the lonely people will donate.
Well, that's that's the more graphic side of like the titty streamers, the thoughts. Well, what you get? There's nothing wrong with that kind of stuff.
I mean, once again, also,
again,
people are fully entitled to hide that they're in a relationship.
Sure,
Of course.
of course, it's
But,
private.
But yeah, it's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
These people are making money off,
I remember when I was a kid, if I was playing Xbox by myself, I would have my laptop beside me, and I would have like C-Nanners videos or something on, but I would not be focusing on the video at all. It would just be background noise. I
Sure.
love that shit.
Oh,
And I'm sure that it's
100%.
huge for Twitch. Yeah.
100%.
Do
Yeah.
that.
I think even more people on Twitch just use Twitch to fall asleep too. Just having it in the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah, that's
Just
why.
white
That's
noise.
why you could have like 500
I
viewers
have
and
to
only
piss
like
so bad.
100 people
And then
talking.
you scream really loudly and then it cuts in
Yeah.
half.
Swagger's just going to take a piss real quick. He's still wearing the GoPro, so that'll be interesting.
Have fun editing that one, Mitchell.
Good man.
Hopefully the recording for this doesn't fuck up,
What are you doing, Mason?
and we can actually post this one to YouTube.
So it-
Are you okay, mate?
So is he.
Jesus, just.
it's a really good episode.
But yeah, I mean, this has been pretty much an hour, so I guess once Swagger comes back, we'll sign off and say goodbye. Anything else anyone wanted to bring up just before we close this sucker out? We've talked about James
Last minute
Charles,
thoughts.
talked about dreams, and we've talked about
Burrow.
strange porn.
Talk about Burrow,
Talk about
the
We did talk about
incredible
Burrow.
company that makes amazing couches.
Code Misfits. We did talk about Code Misfits.
Flash Misfits.
oh fuck!
Slash.
I have to cut that out now,
do?
man.
You talked about an
Dylan.
inferior product.
He's like borrow. I was meant to say gamer subs.
Yes.
Gamers subs. Code Misfits.
Gamersubs.gg.
We need to make a jingle for gamer subs.
Gamersubs. It doesn't suck.
That's right.
There we go.
What's up, bro?
Gamersubs.gg.
What's up,
Code
gamer?
Misfits.
Just gamer subs.
Gamer.
Just
Hey,
Gamersubs.
subs gamer.
Yes, if this ever makes it to YouTube, then welcome. The podcast channel, I guess. If it doesn't, then hopefully someday we'll finally figure out how to record this fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like our last couple times recording with the cameras out and filming was a little awkward, but I feel pretty good about it this time. So,
That
yeah.
being said, this better get 2 million views.
Better get 2 million
Or
views.
we-
And
Press
Nicholas
like.
Tati, Slay Queen.
Or not. Guys, thank you for listening. Any final words there, Swagger, mate?
That was like the longest piss I've ever taken in my life.
Isn't that long?
That was like 30 seconds.
I don't know, dude. It was like a racehorse. I was really blasting that shit.
Thanks for the info, bud.
Hey, dude.
All right, this has been
anytime.
Misfits Podcast.
Okay, guys, we'll see you next time.
Entertainment.
Bye.
Like and subscribe.
Hello, mate. Welcome back to the Misfits Podcast.
Hello.
Rated 5 stars on iTunes by Thilda. He says, depression has not been cured. Tears are running down my cheek and my therapist is dummy thick. Thanks for that review, mate.
Whoa.
Absolutely
That's like a
awesome.
whole
Why are you
life story.
depressed if your therapist's dummy thick?
I don't know, man, because he can't hit that, bro. All she wants to do is talk, talk, talk.
Dude, it's all in his head, man. He can easily do it.
You're 100%, man. Overcome
gotta believe.
your fears.
It's illegal.
Fuck your dummy thick therapist, bro.
Do it.
Like that ass
Rooting
clap,
for you.
dog.
Guys, what a weekend we've had.
Wow.
Where the
Yeah,
fuck do
we
we start?
Let me introduce you all first, in case people don't know. I'm joined by Toby.
Hi, I'm Toby.
He's Toby. He's Swagger, a.k.a. Eric Vivian Matthews.
Hello, that's my name.
We got Bald Man Mason on the scene.
What's going on,
We
fellas?
got Jay, a.k.a. Code McCramian Item Shop.
Yes.
we're bleeping that. We're bleeping that.
That's not even the right code.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
What is it? Code Creamy?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that.
That's it.
And we got Matt here as
Fuck.
well.
What'd it do?
Boys and girls, this was the weekend of IEM Sydney, which, if you don't know, is a CSGO tournament that we...
Intel
Extreme Master Day.
I always thought it was Intel Elite Masters.
No, it's extreme. And
It
let me just
pretty
say,
much means the same thing.
it was an extreme weekend.
It was extreme.
Where
Chris
do, we,
Angel
where do
shit.
we start? We knew we were going to Sydney. We've been preparing for a while. We went last year, had a great time. Only difference this time was that we had no idea how we were getting to Sydney until the day of, which was Friday. So we all walk up to the Misfits house. You know, those
Passports in hand.
passports in
Yeah,
hand,
Ryan left
ready
in the
to
group
go.
chat. He's like, make sure you have your passports.
Yep.
I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
But everyone was here, and Ryan just goes, "All right, Toby, we need to go." I had guessed what we were doing and how we were getting there and stuff. And
What was your guess?
So because I guessed it, Ryan was like, "All right, you can."
You guessed correctly?
Yeah, I guessed correctly, and he was like, "All right, you can come and pick it up with me." So we drive to an RV place.
Yes.
And then
You, Ryan, went to the RV
Yeah.
place, and none of us had any idea how we were getting there.
Oh, what the fuck, Mason?
Did you actually just?
Mason just farted on the mic and now has to have his face 2 centimeters away.
Enjoy your pink eye.
Yeah.
You
I hope I get it. I hope I get pink
You
eye.
played yourself.
That was a very worthy interruption there.
But
Oh fuck!
Look, like while you guys are gone getting the RV, the rest of us are just here speculating because you guys were gone for a while, and we were filming. By the way, there are going to be some great videos coming out of this trip.
Amazing
but consider this podcast the book to the movie, like we said last time. But yeah, we were sitting around. I was speculating that it was going to be like we're getting there by boat or we're going to get there by helicopter.
I thought
boat
private
makes
jet.
no
Yeah,
sense.
no,
Jay thought private
we're
jet.
not
I was
that
thinking.
rich.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're not that rich.
No.
And so yeah, I mean, Ryan eventually pulls up in the RV. And,
we went there and we like had to sign up and get sign all the forms and stuff to get the RV. And then we get into the RV and this chick gives us like this 15-minute walkthrough. We were just sitting there like, we need to go, we're late and stuff. She was like, so like, this is how you use all this. We didn't use any of the facilities other than the toilet. But yeah. So, and then eventually we got on the road. They drove it back. As they were leaving the RV place, I was driving behind them in my car and I just see all this water spraying out of the back of their RV.
Oh, no.
And it was because there was the fresh water hose thing had been left on. So as they were driving, just all of the fresh water that was in the truck was being sprayed onto the road. But
funny.
then we got back and you guys saw what
Yeah, we're
what was
literally
in
just
store
sitting
for you.
around, and I just hear honking. I'm just like, oh fuck me,
Yeah.
what is that in the driveway?
Yeah, and then we go outside and we see this big RV.
Fucking huge.
It could have been worse for an RV. Like it was a pretty
Yeah, it was nice.
I was
Nice,
surprised,
it was
like the
nice.
seats it had, like the 4 seats sitting there. Normally
Yeah.
they're like super small.
The seats were pretty comfy too.
I wouldn't call
Yeah,
it a
they weren't
luxury RV, but it was definitely not like a crappy
It wasn't
caravan.
an American RV.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
no
a
way.
anywhere else in the world RV. American RVs are they're a lot bigger. They're more like buses. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
don't
Those are
dog
like
them. I mean, you can
motorhomes.
cook some good fucking meth in an American RV.
That's right.
That's true.
The American RVs are just next level RVs, super luxury it seems. But this was like a pretty standard. It was essentially like, I'm pretty sure it was a Mercedes truck that they built an RV on the back of.
Really?
Wait, really?
I think
Yeah, it's
that's
so
how they
weird.
make
Like
it.
saw fucking Mercedes on the steering wheel.
I thought it was just a Mercedes-made RV, but
Yeah, but what I mean is like they'll take a Mercedes truck
they'll
and
take the
then
body.
build the RV on it. Like, it was probably still made by Mercedes.
yeah, but it was nice. I mean, my first thought was, oh, this is gonna be hilarious, and then my second thought was, who's driving? And then Ryan looks at me and goes, "You're driving," and I was like, "How long is that?" And he goes, "About 9 hours." Turns out in an RV, it's a little slower than your average drive time. So in reality,
Especially because the RV didn't let you. In Australia, in the open road, the speed limit is 110.
kilometers.
And this RV, because it was for tourists, if you go above 110, even 111, it will beep at you.
Aggressive.
Yeah,
Aggressively beep.
inside of the RV, it'll just go beep, 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 like right in your face.
Well, I don't beep
if you're
impression.
speeding over like just one increment.
I don't think you
of
want
the
to speed
limit.
with that thing. Like the whole thing starts like wobbling as
Yeah,
you go
but it's a
down
pain in
fucking
the
road.
ass when everybody's asleep and you're driving the RV and then it just starts beeping because you have to pass a truck that's going 80.
Well, we put it on cruise control, and it was pretty easy to get it to sit at like one. You could get away with 111 on cruise control, but I mean, whenever we even reached a slight incline, it would go down and drop speed because it just couldn't.
Yeah, the slightest incline would drop 30 Ks. Like it just could not handle any incline. It was funny.
So yeah, the trip ended up being more like 11 hours on the road, which is a long time. I mean, I gotta say, I kind of enjoyed the trip over. I mean, I was driving for most of it.
I drove for a little bit.
It was pretty nice. I was in the back on the bed, which has no seat belts. So I was lying down. I took 3 edibles. I was like, this is going to be a trip. This is going to be a treat. I was listening to music. The sun was up and it was setting. And I was like, this is awesome. I'm seeing the fucking countryside. This is so cool. But every single bump, I was going up in the air
Yeah.
at least half a foot to a foot and just bouncing back down, which
there are no
was fucking
seatbelts
terrifying.
on your
without a
mattress.
seatbelt.
So yeah, you
No,
were just
yeah,
sitting
yeah,
there
you're not-
just rolling around.
You're not
Technically,
meant. You're not meant to lie down.
It's against the law to be in the RV while it's moving if you don't have a seatbelt on. So you're meant to be sitting in the seats.
There are only 4 seats.
But
though.
Swagger and Mason decided to sit on the beds
Yeah.
for the entire trip.
yeah, how
Oh,
was your
that's got
time?
like that little cubby thing too
Yeah.
above the
Yeah,
driver.
Mason was in the cubby. How was that?
Oh, fucking comfy.
Yeah?
That was probably the safest place to be.
Did you ever hit
Yeah.
the ceiling or anything? Or
Nah.
because you're up the front,
Yeah,
I
you're at the
guess.
front. There's no bumps.
You could just
Yeah.
sleep up there. Like, it was fun.
Yeah, whereas Swag was right at the back, which means that all the momentum just popped the fucking back up.
Just for context, the cubby we're talking about, when you go right into the RV, above the driver's side is like a canopy.
Yeah.
So you climb up there. There's like a little bed, so you can just fucking take a nap up there. It was pretty sick.
And that's where Mason was the entire time. But yeah, I mean, I was really sketched out. I was like to Ryan, there's no way I'm not crashing this thing at least once by the time we get there. But obviously,
I mean, if you did crash it, it would have been fine because the insurance covered one rollover.
Yeah, apparently
You roll it once, just no more than once.
Expecting it to roll.
Everyone out just like, all right, push. Okay, we're good.
which rolling the RV sounds like a major thing.
Oh,
so
the
it's
entire
surprising
thing,
that.
the back would be ripped off it.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to pay the insurance because you'd all be dead.
But yeah, I mean, the trip went off more or less without a hitch. I mean,
It was pretty smooth.
what they don't tell you about an RV is that this thing rattles like crazy. It's unavoidable because there's
Yeah.
cutlery in there and there's
Yeah.
there's
Pots and
like
pans, just-
pots. So like you're going 110 on the highway. It's
And these are like
time.
super bumpy roads too, and like in the Australian outback, pretty
Yeah.
much, where it's like fucking nothing. It's just bumpy ass roads.
They could have been worse. It wasn't like potholes, but it was
Thank
definitely
fuck.
not like an even surface.
Yeah, I felt every single bump, every
Yeah.
single fucking deformity on the asphalt. I just fucking felt.
We filmed little bits where, like, while Fitz was driving at 110 down the highway, we filmed like a little Cribs video and stuff. And, everyone's getting thrown around the car by
I
the
was
swerves.
intentionally
and stuff.
swerving it out. You
It
were
was,
filming
it
it.
was pretty funny. It was a good time. It was a fun trip.
It was.
Like,
It was.
Yeah.
little stuff like that is really cool to do with like a group of close friends
Oh,
because it just
Gotta love a road trip.
such a cool experience.
Jay was getting car sick.
Oh my god.
He does not do well on the road.
I get horrific car sickness.
I wish
and-
you said something because I had no idea you got car sickness, and then like
You're fucking swerving it back and forth.
I was like, I would have been like a little more careful. But
10 hours worth of it.
yeah,
And it was.
Imagine if we
it was
gave him an
fine.
edible
You-
too,
you-
and he's card sick.
yeah, you took it like a champ though. You didn't complain. And
Oh
you
yeah,
just,
you boys were on edibles, weren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was.
way up, way back.
Me and Matt, I think.
Yeah.
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 I was sober the
No,
way
it's a
back.
fun time.
Fun fact: the
thank
smoke
God.
alarm does not work in the RV.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it doesn't.
discovered that. It does
doesn't
not
on the way.
work.
We can talk about the way back, I guess.
Wait, you
after
were
we talk
smoking
about the
joints
trip.
in the RV?
Yeah.
We're vaping.
No,
They were smoking joints while we were driving. Naughty.
That's naughty.
Yeah, I
Does
was.
it smell?
no. I
No,
mean,
the
it's
RV
an
doesn't
RV.
smell.
You literally just pop a little vent on the top
True,
when you're going
true.
down the road. You're
The
fine.
RV smells, but not of weed. It smells
Yeah.
of 5 dudes.
Just
traveling in
men.
an
I'm
RV.
literally up in the cubby, and I'm like, "What smells like weed?" And I pop my head over, and it's fucking Sam's just smoking a joint. He's like, "Hey, you want some?" I was like, "Nah, man, I'm all right. I'm
It's the
fine."
worst Sam impression I've ever
Yeah, sorry, sorry, Sam.
But yeah, on the way back, me and Toby were out front just blasting tunes, playing some classics. We had a good sing along.
Yeah, yeah.
It was great. We left kind
The
of
boys
at the
were
perfect
all
time.
asleep. Well, at least seemingly asleep, or they had their noise cancelling headphones on. Fitz and I were just jamming out to music.
Hell yeah.
A lot of fun. The speakers were fucking terrible though.
You couldn't
we
hear
couldn't
him
hear
in
him
the
in the
back.
back.
We couldn't get in.
That's what sucked is there was
in
a
the back.
whole like sound system for the RV too, but it was like a separate radio in the back and
Yeah.
like DVDs.
I'm still kind of
Couldn't do
thankful for
anything
that
with it.
because if you did want to catch sleep, you didn't have to, stop the driver from listening to music.
True. Yeah, they like closed the curtain. They're like in their own little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good
Separate
though.
car.
Yeah,
We
I
left-
closed the curtain.
we
We
left-
left some
we-
Roadhead.
We left at 3? We left at like 3 p.m. and then we got to Sydney at like 11.
No, we left at like midday.
Yeah.
Like 1. We left on the way back at 3. And that was like a
right.
much more nighttime journey.
Fuck that.
But,
The way back was.
it was way more
Walking
nighttime.
way back.
We'll talk about the way back later. But yeah, I mean, it was a good time. We had like a nice long strip of time where it was like golden hour.
Oh, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
beautiful.
Really
It
nice.
was beautiful.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we arrived in Sydney around midnight. We thankfully found a park for the RV, which is fucking massive.
crazy coincidence. Directly across the road from the Airbnb we stayed at was just the perfect park for an RV.
Yep.
It was just the luckiest thing we've ever had.
Can we just talk about what happened when we were about 2 hours out and there was just a massive we almost crashed. We were supposed to turn off somewhere and
Oh.
what happened there? Because I just woke up and I was
know what he's talking
freaking the
about.
fuck
Well,
out.
we were trying to find a place to stop real quick because I think one of us needed to take a piss or something like that, or maybe we were looking for a gas station. And like I thought that the lane started splitting, and I thought it was just like an off ramp.
Yeah.
Turns out it was not an off ramp, but it was actually a sharp turn.
Oh shit.
And I didn't have my beamers on because I didn't want to blind the people coming
Yeah.
towards us. And so all of a sudden, like I'm going into this lane, and then it just stops, and there's just like the side barrier. I'm like, fuck! So I swerve to the left.
Yeah.
That's what
I
that
was
was.
freaking the fuck out.
Yeah,
I was like, oh
so-
no.
A couple close calls like that, but
For the most part, it was.
you know, it's no fun if there's no close calls.
We're all fine.
Yeah. So we arrive in Sydney. It's dark. Chris comes out. Who Ryan, Chris, and Sam drove in a separate. They drove in Toby's car actually.
Yeah.
So they arrived long before us. And Chris comes out shaking his head. He's like, "This is a shit Airbnb."
And we're optimistic. We're like, no way.
Sure, this Airbnb's not that bad.
But
He's
we
like, it's
walk
probably
in
the
there and
shittest
we're
one I've
like,
been to.
This is
This
nice.
is really nice. This is a
Yeah.
really nice Airbnb. What's he talking about? And then we discover why it's a shit Airbnb.
The
Lights-
lights barely worked, or they were just confusing as hell. Like you'd press the light switch and then you'd press it again and it would do something different.
Yeah.
And also there was just a bed in the hallway, which Matt immediately yoinked because he was on edibles and he was like,
Immediately
"Fuck this
took
shit! I'm just yoinking this bed." And then he's got in it, and there was no moving him.
Chris had taken one of the bedrooms. Our friend had taken the other bedroom, but
Yeah.
he said, "Hey, if anyone wants to sleep with me, that's fine." But
Yeah.
nobody wanted to sleep with him. Everyone wanted their own bed.
So yeah,
There
I
was a
mean,
couch. There was a fucking mattress that was as hard as a rock and had stains all over it.
Yeah, what the
I'm a
fuck?
scumbag, right? So when we walk in, everyone walks straight out to this balcony and we're like, this is really nice. We're looking around. I then go, this is the perfect time to claim a room. So I turn around, I run upstairs, and I'm like, this room's sick. It's got an ensuite, really nice. I claim that room. And then Fitz walks in and he's like, you can't just claim this room. And I was like, that's fair enough. He's like, let's rock, paper, scissors for it. I beat him. It was best of 3, and I beat him in the first 2. And he was like, you're so good. It was funny. I was like, sweet, this is my room. Get the fuck out now.
you know, I was like, fair enough. You know,
Yeah.
I lost. You know, that's what I signed up for. I go downstairs and like Mason has yoinked another room right by the door.
Yeah.
Oh, no, well,
Well, what happened was Chris was like, "Yeah, I'll give up my room. Like, I really don't need this
Yeah.
room. It's fine. We have an RV. We can sleep in the RV. That's fine." And so Mason's like, "Yeah, I'll take it." And then you come down and you're like,
no, it wasn't like Mason said, "Oh, you'll take it." Mason privately yoinked it.
I
when no one
called
was around.
shotgun in the hallway.
It doesn't count if
Yeah,
you're
you
just
can't
with
just
you and
call
Chris. Like that's not how it works. We were
Get fucked, mate.
So anyway, I'm like, okay, Mason, rock paper scissors for the room. I immediately lose that one as well.
yeah, and I had the couch at that point, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'll get in on this."
Yeah.
So
I went before you, though.
Yeah.
I went before you. So Mason beat me as well. He
Yeah.
beat.
So I go up to Mason. I go, "All right, best 2 out of 3 rock paper scissors." He wins 1, and then I win the other 2, and so I ended up getting the room.
Which is like the most retarded way of deciding beds because it means that Mason had to win 3 times in a row just to keep the
That's
bed.
fucked.
Like we should have done
I knew
it
that was
better. but-
bullshit, but I didn't say anything.
You have to remember, we're just gone off like an 11-hour RV
Yeah.
trip. Like we were all exhausted. I was like, we were just like, fuck, I just want to go to bed, but there just weren't enough beds. So anyway, eventually, I was like, fuck this. Like Toby went to.
I was up and I was in bed, like trying to get to sleep, and I just hear so much bickering downstairs. It was really funny. I just hear like Jay and Mason talking to each other. Like I think they're like trying to get comfortable or something. I don't know what was happening. and then after like 10 minutes of that, I just hear a knock at my door, and Fitz just goes, "Can I sleep with you?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, of course you can," because you were just like sick of.
I was like,
out.
look, it's late. I've been driving for 10 hours. I just want to go to
How did you
sleep.
not
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
it?
you should have gotten that room.
Yeah, it's not the first time I've slept in the same bed as Toby, if you know what I mean. No, but
I remember first PAX.
first PAX we
We
shared a bed.
slept
Yeah.
in the tiniest bed, and Fitz's legs were like dangling off the end. It was so funny.
Back in the days before Ryan was booking our Airbnbs.
Yeah.
It was not a good choice. But yeah, I was like, fuck it. So
Remember the freezer?
yeah, that's
Oh
right.
my
He
God.
fucking opens up
yeah.
the freezer. Cameron opens up the freezer, and it is completely like frozen over with ice.
That's
There's
an
at least-
understand. It's like 2
It
inches
is
thick of just
2
ice
inches thick of
covering
ice.
your drawers.
It was
and
like
everything.
he
It
opened
wasn't
it.
just the freezer; it was the fridge.
Yeah,
Right?
It was just a freezer.
Oh, just the freezer.
He opens
Fucking
that, and then he
North Pole in
can't.
there.
There's so much ice that he can't close it. So
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, well, I don't want that all to leak out onto the floor. So I put a towel and I took a knife and I just started chipping away at
Baked as
the ice
fuck.
on the fucking freezer. There was literally probably at least 10 pounds
Swagger
of ice.
diligently chipped for like 30 minutes
It was
until
so long.
It was fun.
eventually we could close
I
the
had a good. It was like ASMR for me, just chipping off ice.
I don't know in what world that's ASMR. For me, it was just and I was already exhausted. But no, good effort. We eventually got the freezer door. I don't understand how it could be open, but it couldn't be closed. But I
have
guess
no
the
idea.
grooves just
There's
don't
like,
line up.
yeah, it's like it opened it, melted or some shit.
Anyways, I mean, Mason and Jay slept on the couch.
Yeah.
Jay made an improvised footrest.
It was awesome with a table.
I don't know why you guys didn't close the curtains before going to bed, because I woke up in the morning at like 8 and the sun was just right in your face, like you were trying to sleep. You
Yeah,
should've
but
just
the
fucking
thing,
closed
the
the
thing
curtain.
is, we also left the door open for about 30 minutes after you guys all went to
It
bed.
was too hot.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
and we wake up. Mason goes for a piss, and he just looks at the wall, and there's a spider the size of his hand just
wolf spider.
crawling on the wall. And I'm just like, I just huddle up immediately. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that.
I'm
not
in
doing
bed, and I just hear Mace go, "Look at the fucking size of that machine gun! What the fuck is that shit gun?" And then you're just going like, I'm like, oh, what the fuck is that? And I'm laying in bed, and I'm like, fuck that. They can deal with the spider.
Swagger freaks the
And
fuck
I'm
out.
like, I go, fuck that. They can deal with the spider. And I'm just in bed trying to sleep. And then Mason goes, oh, it's going to Swagger's room. Fuck that.
It was
It's
making
his
its way
problem.
to Swagger's room.
So I get up, I get dressed, I go outside. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, look at the wall. I just go, oh shit!
It's a so fast.
It was fucking. I've never seen a fucking spider that big.
What kind was it again?
It was a wolf spider, dude.
it
It
was
was
a
fucking
wolf.
huge.
And they're poisonous, right?
No, they're not
They're not?
venomous.
Okay.
No.
And he
It was
just
like, what,
still-
like a 5-inch?
Cut to me and Toby upstairs. Like we still haven't fallen
just
asleep. No, it wasn't. It was very loud. Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so
Screaming.
sorry.
We just heard Swagger being a
so
little
loud.
baby down there.
Dude, fuck
hilarious.
spiders that big. I was throwing pillows at it, trying to kill it. It was just fucking. I was missing every shot. It was just fucked. It
made-
was
But for
fucked.
context on how loud Swagger was screaming, Chris was outside across the road sleeping in the RV,
Yeah.
and he said he heard it.
Yeah.
He said he heard it clearly.
So Mason had to step up and Steve Irwin it. He's like, settle down, boys. You don't want to hurt it.
He took a picture frame off of the fucking off of the shelf,
The way
and he
he-
just gets the spider onto the frame, and he's just like carefully opening the door. He opens the door, he puts it out, and then it starts to crawl, and he drops the frame, and he thought he dropped it on the spider and killed it. And I was like, well, you have to check if you killed it or not, because
like,
that could be
nah,
anywhere. And so
fuck
he goes over to it. He lifts it up, and it's gone,
Yeah,
completely
it's
gone,
gone.
without a trace.
So
I
we
have
just
no idea
closed the
where it
door and
went.
said, "Fuck that."
It just disappeared.
I was so worried it was going to crawl under the crack of the door, so I took a towel and just pushed it into the bottom just to make sure. That's why there was a towel.
And that was so bad. And then, funnily enough, when I woke up that morning, like the first thing I see when I wake up, I look down to my like footrest where the like couch is. I see a little brown thing go under the couch, and I just shot out of the couch, and I was like, okay,
What was it?
I don't know, but
Spider.
Why did you say something? I would have been way more cautious around the
What
Airbnb.
the fuck? Did you just leave me sleeping there, cunt?
yeah, I left them sleeping there.
Fuck that.
As if.
Fuck spiders.
spiders.
Is the
Fuck
moral of the
spiders.
story.
Yeah, you guys were saying when we were upstairs, you were saying it was a huntsman. Like you guys were talking about it like it was poisonous, but if it's just a,
Yeah,
Are
Mason was
huntsman's poisonous?
you were saying some spider that was poisonous.
Mason
Like,
was
white
saying
tail.
whitetail.
Whitetail.
Whitetail's
I thought it
like
was
that
whitetail.
big.
Sydney has bird-eating spiders.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that was a
It could have
bird-eating
been a
spider.
bird-eating spider.
it was,
Yeah, that was
fucking
huge.
huge.
isn't there one called like the Sydney? It's like a spider named after Sydney, and apparently it's one of the most venomous ones in the world.
Well, I
There was a
hope it
video
wasn't that.
trending on YouTube of a guy handling one, and everyone in the comments was like, "You're a fucking idiot! Like this thing
Yeah.
is so aggressive and so poisonous. Like, why would you do that?"
Just
But-
fuck that. Fuck spiders,
fuck
dude.
spiders.
Fuck it literally looked like the size of a small crab. It was fucked.
It was fucking
Anyways,
putrid.
enough of this. I'm
Anyway.
having PTSD.
Yeah.
Anyway, next day was the day of IEM.
I woke up really early for some reason, which is so annoying when you get to bed really late, but still
Yeah.
wake up really early and then you can't get back to sleep. So I went for a walk with one of the friends that we were there with.
Yeah.
It was really pretty. The area we were staying in was super nice. It was
Oh,
like
yeah, it was
by the water,
Yeah.
and there's a big park around. But yeah, I got back and then we all prepared to go to IEM.
Yeah, so we were doing a meet and greet at IEM, which we had arranged. It was around midday or 1 o'clock or something. We get to the event. We get escorted in the back. We were treated very well.
Very well.
Very well.
Very well.
Yeah, we pull up and we see like the phase guys are right next to us, like Olaf Meister.
That was so surreal. Like these
weird.
people that you
it's like
and,
you walk
uh,
past. I was like,
see,
wait, what the fuck was that? Like,
the people that you
raining
see,
off?
like,
what the fuck?
what the
And
fuck?
I didn't find out till later that they actually weren't competing. They were just there for a meet and greet. So it's a good thing we didn't say anything to them like, good luck, boys.
Yeah, exactly.
They're already out of the tournament. But no, it was cool seeing them. And yeah, then we got escorted up to our little suite where we could, stay privately. And then, yeah, soon enough, it was the time for the meet and greet.
Where you said that, it's probably not going to be that big of a turnout.
I was like,
Yeah, so-
I found out on the day that the meet and greet was actually 2 hours before the first game of the day started.
The game started at 3 and our meet and greet was at 1:15. So and also we got told that the doors didn't open until 1 for the event. So we were like, there's going to be no one there.
Yeah, I
but it
was kinda
turns out
bummed
the
out.
doors actually opened at 12,
Yeah.
and for some reason people came early.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was expecting low numbers. We show up at the meet and greet, and there is
Holy
a fucking
shit.
fat line and just a huge crowd. And
We
as
get
soon as they see
escorted
us,
in,
yeah, they
and
escort us
this
in.
guy's like, "Hey, do you guys want to say something as you're walking in?" And we're like, "Oh no, none of that. You know, we don't want to
Yeah.
MC it." This guy just goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for."
like WWE entrancing us.
Hype Man was something else.
we had like 2 hype men the entire time on the mic.
it was like, do we need a hype man?
We were
for
literally
a-
just
for a
sitting
meetup?
there at a table signing stuff, and we had 2 guys on stage hyping the crowd up.
Throwing shit at the
They're
crowd,
like,
throwing keyboards and shit.
You get a t-shirt. You get a
Yeah,
t-shirt.
they're
It was
literally
so funny.
Even
throwing-
without the hype men, though, the crowd was hyped. Like as soon as they saw us,
so
they were like,
crazy.
"It's Feds, Feds,
Yeah, it was
Feds."
really wild.
It was
really
crazy.
good.
Like, that was
amazing.
definitely
So surreal.
It took us like 2.5 hours to get through the line, right?
It was the most energetic meet and greet we've ever done. I think the
I
crowd was
reckon
really
there was
good.
like 500 people there.
I reckon
Some
at
shit.
least
I reckon more than
500.
We
5.
literally all needed a break. That's
Yeah, we had
like,
to take a
we had
piss
to take a
break. I was busting
It was
for a
crazy.
piss.
We went backstage and
Had to
saw
escort us out.
Stewie.
Fucking-
Oh, that's after. That's afterwards.
But
No,
yeah,
that was during the break.
Really?
Yeah. Where
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
like, it's Cloud9.
Oh yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, I didn't see that. What happened there?
We just went to take a piss, and then I think it was Stewie 2K was
And
there, and I
Team
was
Liquid.
like, "Hey, it's that guy from Cloud9."
Who isn't in Cloud9
He's
anymore.
not
And he said it so
anymore.
loud,
Yeah.
dude. They definitely heard it.
You actually said that out
I
loud.
think so. Yeah,
You did.
For
I
reference,
don't fucking know.
for people who don't follow CS:GO, Stewie 2K is a player who used to play for a team called Cloud9.
That was years
But
ago.
years ago,
Years
he now
ago.
plays for a team called Liquid, who actually ended up winning the tournament.
Spoilers.
Everyone fucking knows.
Just kidding.
So yeah, Swagger's saying that is pretty retarded.
Yeah, it's the guy from Cloud9. Yeah, yeah, I guess.
So yeah, it was funny because he was actually apparently he was lost, and
Yeah,
Yeah, apparently his entire team was on stage, but he wasn't, and he
Yeah.
was
Oh,
lost,
no way.
trying to figure out where he had to go.
that's so funny.
That's why they're all panicking.
But yeah, the meet and greet was great. Thank you so much to everyone who waited in line to see us.
Yeah,
it
and
was,
thank you to IEM for hosting it. It was
For
so much fun.
sure.
it was really great energy that day, and yeah, everyone was just stoked, and yeah, it's not really a dull moment during that meet and greet. I had a
Not
really
at
good
all.
time. So yeah, I mean the hype men towards the end were like trying to throw out merch that we'd signed, like mouse pads and a keyboard, and that got a little crazy.
That
Yeah,
was
it got a little wild.
crazy.
people
that was-
were like ready to tear each other apart.
Yeah, one of them was
for a
crying.
fucking
It
t-shirt.
was crazy.
Some dude grabbed, he caught something, and then instantly ran off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was the keyboard. He fucking like, jumped
Yeah.
up, grabbed that shit like a football player, and just like sprinted away because everyone was chasing him after him for it.
It's good fun though, man. I like our fans a lot. They're
Oh,
really
so much fun.
they really get our humor, so they're playful.
yeah,
like
yeah.
they're not. I mean, some of them are nervous, and that's obviously fine. But I mean, a lot of them are just happy to talk shit, and that's always good to see.
I had like a 9-year-old come up to me like, Fortnite's so shit. I hate Fortnite. Stop playing Fortnite. I was like a 9-year-old. I said to Mason, I was like, oh, sweet, we've probably got some fans here. And the complete opposite. And I was like, all right, buddy. It's funny as.
And yeah, I mean, then we just went back up to our suite, and we watched some games for a bit, chilled out.
I always love IEM, like,
It's good.
because one, Counter-Strike is so easy to follow, and it's such
Yeah.
one of those games that like you can get so into so easily when watching someone because it's
just
so
very
simple,
spectator
but you can
friendly.
also see so much skill in it.
Yeah.
And so it's always so much fun to see. And then obviously, like, one of the reasons why I love IEM is because there's always the Twitch private box. And it's just so fun to go into this box and watch Counter-Strike with a bunch of other people that have the same job as
Yeah.
you and, you know, are in the same community as you that you just don't really get to meet very often.
It's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
Not to mention the crowd
Oh
in
my
Sydney is
God.
always so
my
great.
God, it's-
Sad and Courtney.
Oh, the
Crowd
crowd's
is
That's the
always
first
fun.
time I've
Nothing's
been to
better.
an event like that. And it was just absolutely
You didn't
surreal.
come last time?
Nah, I didn't go to IM last time.
Sure.
Yeah,
Nah, definitely didn't.
I remember you being there. It's odd.
nothing's better than fucking Australian
That was-
crowd.
Yeah, the crowd was
So
energetic.
wild.
They were always
Wild.
starting chants
Always into it.
and
Yeah.
getting up to mischief. And one of the casters, Henry, they were giving him a real hard time. The whole
Yeah.
time. They kept on going, Henry's a wanker, like the entire stadium. And
and then
Henry's trying to cast, and he hears us in the background. You can hear it in the background of the stream.
But the
also,
cool
like,
thing
pull
is
up,
like
like,
the casters
Twitch chat
play
and
into
shit,
it
too.
because
Yeah.
Yeah.
the casters know that this is what the Sydney crowd is like,
Yeah.
and I feel like they must love it too.
Yeah, I
And they,
love it.
you know, they just play into it, so the crowd will be chanting and they'll mention something, and then the crowd will make jokes back.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all banter.
Yeah.
For sure. I'd love to see Australia host a major.
It'd be
Yes,
great.
that'd be
They
sick.
need their own major.
I'm sure it
That'd be
will. I'm
crazy.
sure it will happen. Australia's getting much more involved in esports. But yeah, we'll get back to the energy of the crowd later because it's important for what happened the next day. But first of all, I want to talk about, did anything happen that night? I didn't think so. We just kind of,
Nah, we just
What do we even do that? I don't
Did
even
we
remember.
go to?
we were pretty shattered. We just, I don't know. What
I
did
think we
do?
went back.
Well, we went to
We went to
Clickhouse, right?
Clickhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We,
Sorry, we'll talk about that first. So yeah, if you don't know, there's another Australian gamer group called Click, who we love. Shout out Click. And yeah, they're based in Sydney, so we don't see them that often. But when we do, we always have a good time. So we were like, "Yo, let's go to the Click House," which we'd never been to before.
Yeah.
And they were very kind and letting us come in.
Parked their RV right in front of their door. Like, literally right in front
Right
of the
in
door.
front
Hit
of
their
it.
bins too on the way in,
Yeah.
knock it over.
They
Yeah.
fuck shit up.
They've got a very nice house in a very nice neighborhood. We pull up in the
Insanely.
scuffed RV, and like an inch away from their door,
They open it.
Yuzak opens the door. He's like, "What the fuck?" But yeah, no, they were awesome. They were very.
They were good hosts.
Yeah.
Good hosts. They let us come in and film and
Awesome
get up to some
people.
shenanigans. And yeah, we had a pretty quiet one with them. We just had a few beers and
Loser
shot the
Fruit
shit.
painted my nails.
Loser Fruit painted Swagger for Soul Snails.
They were all chipped. Thanks, Loser Fruit.
Very cool. And yeah, that's kind of what happened, I guess.
Yeah.
We saw them later on, but yeah, we went to bed because me, Toby, and our friend we were with were planning on going skydiving. I mean, you weren't planning on.
I didn't
Oh,
even go to the Click House. I just went to sleep.
You were with us, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Matt was with us.
That's the one that fucking jumped with you. Do you not remember?
God, sorry. Look, I was skydiving,
framed.
okay? Like, it was exactly the forefront of my memory. But no, yes, Matt came as well. So we went on a little road trip early in the morning, about an hour out of Sydney. And yeah, I mean, it took us a while to actually get in the plane to go up.
Yes, we were sitting around because it was like a high chance of rain.
Yeah, we
or
arrived
whatever.
there. As we were driving there, it started raining, and we are like, shit. And when we arrived there, they were like, yeah, sorry, we can't fly at the moment. The weather isn't appropriate. So
yeah.
you guys, we were probably there for like 3 hours.
We were waiting around for like 3-4 hours even. And,
Matt and I have been skydiving before, so I didn't go again.
I'd never gone before. So I was excited, but I was also kind of bummed out that it was a cloudy day, or that, you know, it was uncertain up until it happened
Yeah.
whether we'd actually be able to do it or not. But thankfully we found a little window where the weather was good enough to go, got in a jumpsuit, got strapped up, and yeah, it was weird. Like, we were waiting around, and, you know, Toby or our friend we were with kept asking if I was afraid, if I was nervous about it. And I was kind of just like, you know what, actually I'm pretty chill. Like, I'm calm. Like, I think that I'll probably get nervous when I get up in the air, but right now, like, I don't have any nerves about it. But yeah, I didn't have nerves at all, I don't think.
Yeah,
Like,
so
I
weird.
experienced the same thing.
I was totally
bizarre.
crazy.
For
totally
me,
calm on
I
the
was in
plane.
that mindset when I did it of fully expecting nerves and
Yeah.
just being like, you know, I got on the jumpsuit and I was like, all right, I'm not nervous yet. Get in the plane.
Yeah.
Not nervous yet. I assume maybe when I'm in
Really?
the air, I'll get nervous.
Yeah.
Get in the air.
That's so
not nervous.
weird.
Literally hanging out of a plane, not nervous. It was bizarre.
If anything, I just felt curious the whole time. I was like, I wonder
Yeah.
what this is going to
For
feel
me,
like.
I was kind of the same mindset too. The first time I did it, like going up the plane, I was like perfectly fine. I was like, okay, well, not nervous at all. I was like, I thought it'd be like way more nervous than this because I was the same way. I was just curious like what it could be.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they opened the door, I'm like, oh fuck, this shit's about to happen.
Yeah.
And then the second time around, I was actually a bit more anxious.
Yeah,
Oddly
you were
enough, I
saying
thought
that
it would
going
be
up
more.
in the air, you were like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, because it's like I know in my head what's gonna happen because I did it before. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna get in the plane, we're gonna go up, they're gonna open the door, you're gonna hang out, and then you're gonna jump out, and I know like exactly what that feeling's like when you jump out.
I could see myself being more nervous the second time because what I wasn't expecting was how short of breath you feel when you're free falling.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have masks, we just had goggles. And yeah, like imagine like air is, how fast are you going? Like 180 kilometers
Something
or
like that.
more?
Something like that.
Something like that. You're going very fast. You're free falling literally through the sky. And air
Terminal
is,
velocity.
yeah, and like
Just let-
all the air is just going. If you're facing forward, it's just going into your mouth. So
yeah,
like
and
it's
our
hard
friend,
to breathe.
our friend who we're with, who
Trying to get
skydived,
some air in your mouth, it's fucked.
our
You
friend
really can't
had
breathe.
skydived 280 times, and he said that the shortness of breath is mainly when you're going through the clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was pretty much all cloud during the free fall.
That's what was fucked is the entire free fall is just pure white.
Yeah.
Like you literally couldn't see anything in front of you.
You get all soaked? Going through the cloud?
you don't feel it feels just cold. What it felt like is going like skiing down a mountain in a blizzard extremely fast. That's what it felt like because all you could see was white.
Right.
And feel cold air coming at you. It feel like almost like snowy air like hitting your skin.
When Matt and I
It doesn't help that I also
felt
didn't
the-
bring a hoodie with me when we went skydiving. I was like,
Yeah.
I checked the weather. I'm
You
like,
were-
well, it's gonna be sunny today. It's gonna be fine. Completely neglecting the fact we're gonna be jumping out of a plane later. The entire way up, I'm just like sitting there shivering. My instructor's like, "Are you okay there? You okay there, bro?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm just fucking cold as man." That's what's funny is like this when I was talking about being anxious. Like the second like he opened the door and we jumped, that's when I like didn't have any anxiety because I was like just building it up, like not knowing what or like knowing
At
what's
that point,
gonna happen.
adrenaline just takes over.
Yeah, I was just like, "Fuck!" I'm like, "Okay, we're finally in this now."
Yeah.
just like
I've
looking
seen-
forward to that.
I've seen too many close death caught on GoPro compilations involving skydiving for me to really want to do that. I know it's low. I know it's a very low chance that anything will fail, especially because I'm not doing it solo. But even then, just parts of it makes me really nervous. And
You
I
know
talked
what?
with my
On the
dad
fence.
about it.
Funny you mentioned that with the GoPro thing because they were telling that there was like our friend with us wanted to use like a GoPro on his helmet and had a mount for it, and they're like, "No, you can't use it," because apparently they had a issue before in Australia where someone had like a GoPro mounted to their helmet. And then when their chute opened, they like leaned back or something, and it got like caught in the lines.
The
on
strings
the
from the
chute.
chute caught the
So
GoPro
then
and
like snapped her
snapped
neck
his
or
neck.
something when she was
Jesus.
coming down.
Wait, she
And
died?
so they like had no rules of like no GoPros.
Yeah, it was,
Okay.
it was
It was funny because he was jumping solo. They were telling him about like all the rules they have,
Right.
And through doing that, they were also telling him about all the deaths that have happened in Australia from skydiving. They were just they were just
pep
chatting
talk.
about death.
Yeah, I mean-
While just before he went, I mean, obviously he's gone 280 times, so it wouldn't have phased him. But
I talked with my dad about skydiving because I remember in Barcelona there was the opportunity to go skydiving with everybody before, and I had called my dad and asked him like, "Hey, do you think this is a good idea?" Because my dad works, aerospace.
who calls their dad and says, "Do you think it's a good idea for
Well,
me to
he
jump out
works.
of a fucking plane?"
He works on airplanes and stuff, and he's done that kind of stuff before.
Sure.
And he goes, not in Barcelona and probably not in Australia. If you're going to do it, you should do it at the Navy base I work at. Anything like that.
Classic American response.
And I was like, because he said it's just the safety standards in certain airstrips aren't up to par with the actual real safety standards that are held in some landing strips.
Swagger, with all due respect, your dad is a pussy. Swagger gave me a death stare when I said that. I knew I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
I'm kidding,
Shout out to my
obviously.
dad. Love you.
Yes,
I
I
know
love
you're
your dad
listening.
as well. And yes, you're not a pussy, obviously, sir. Sir, I'm saluting
You're
you.
saluting.
He's saluting right now.
Salute back, Dad. That's your cue.
Yes, but no, we jumped out of a plane. It was cool. It was fun. I would do it again. I would love to go again in clear weather because the
yeah,
cloud,
when Matt and I went, it was completely clear.
the cloud was a
Yeah.
bummer because I couldn't really enjoy a view during the free
Right.
fall. But as soon as he pulled the chute, like we were out of the cloud, and I got to enjoy that going down. And yeah, I was just like, yeah, fuck yeah. And yeah, when I landed, the lady who kind of ran the place came up to me and said, "You should, just so you know, you shouldn't have jumped. Like you should have been on back, because apparently I'm so tall that like I shouldn't have been in front like of my instructor or like hanging on the front. I should have been the one behind him or something, which
He
is
should have been
weird.
strapped to you,
Yeah.
even though he's the instructor,
Yeah,
just because
like-
of the size difference.
Yeah, which is weird that they didn't tell me that before I went up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she was
you're
like,
good.
she was freaking me out. She was like, "You really could have died there. That was seriously dangerous." I was like, "Okay, well, aren't you responsible for me? Like, I didn't know that." But no,
No, was she yelling at you?
she wasn't yelling at me. She was more just like, "Thank God he didn't die," kind of.
Yeah, my instructor was getting pissed
After a
too.
nice
because, like, you're
skydive for your
supposed to be,
first
like-
time, what the fuck?
What?
After a nice skydive for
I
your
know.
first time.
I was like, "Yeah, that was awesome." And she's like, "You could have died." I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, even my instructor was getting pissy because apparently they're supposed to be like certain spacing because like the order they jump out of the plane, they're supposed to be like a certain spacing between them. And some of the guys were just like zipping past everyone and shit like that, and he was getting all pissy about it too.
I see.
With some of the guys and the shit they were doing. That was scary.
Maybe
though, on
your
the way
dad was
down.
right after him. Maybe the safety standards were not to par. But no, it was good. I mean, obviously, we
The
were.
sketchiest part was the like we were saying earlier, the free fall through the white clouds, and you couldn't see anything. And then the second I saw anything, like the green, like this first slight scene of ground, that's when they pulled the chute. And you feel a jerk. Like the second you start to see ground, you feel a jerk. You're just like, holy fuck. Okay, we're good. We're good.
You're like, did I just hit the ground?
Yeah, it's just like, oh fuck. Okay.
And then it was just smooth sailing in a slight pain in my groin, but other than that, very, very nice view. So that was cool. That was an exciting morning, and then we drove back, blasting some tunes.
And we went to IAM.
And we went
You
to
guys were
IAM.
already there.
We were already there. We'd gone around three or four.
And this was the day of the final, so these were the
It was the hype day.
the
We were all
hype
pretty
day.
keen to watch the
Grand
final
final.
match.
Yeah.
So it was Liquid versus Fnatic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty close matchup. And it was good. It was a best of 5, and it went down to the wire, more or less. But what was interesting is what happened during our viewing of the final game.
Literally the last map. It was map 5.
Map 5, last map, they were playing on Inferno, and randomly some people in the crowd, I think, spotted us up in our booth.
Yeah.
We had a private booth that was way up the top, and Swagger was in his chainmail, and he had his helmet like with him,
Balaclava.
in his balaclava. And yeah, some people like, what? How did it begin?
I think it began with someone saying like, "Fuck you, Swagger."
Yeah.
And then they were clapping. That was the chant. And so
What
I
about the
stood
kids,
up
though?
and
No, it
Oh,
started with
yeah.
Misfits or Wankers.
oh yeah.
Well, what happened
we
was
need
these
Yeah.
the people like kind of below us on the right noticed us, and they were
Right.
kind of yelling at us, and then these kids from there came up. They were maybe like 13, 14, 15, a trio of boys up to no good. One of them was really funny. He was just like this he was a pretty witty, like sharp, quick Australian kid, and he was just giving us all this shit and like asking us questions and just bantering basically.
Oh, and then Ryan took his phone from him too.
Right.
And, like
Called-
tried to call his mom. He
texted his
took it up. He's
mom.
like, "What's your mom's name?" Looks it up, calls him. He's like, "Fuck, what are you saying to me, mom? What are you saying to me, mom?" He's just like, "Hi, I'd just like to let you know your son is very well mannered and well behaved and such a good boy." And just hangs up and hands it back. He's like, "What'd you
He's
fucking
still
say to
afraid.
you,
The guy's
mom?" He's like,
freaking out.
You're in fucking trouble when she finds out.
It was really funny. And yeah, I think they kind of drew attention to us because
Right.
people were like, who are those kids talking to those guys? And then they realized it was us. And all of a sudden we just start hearing the crowd going, "Misfits are wankers." Misfits, and not just a few people in the crowd, like
It was like literally a
Hundreds.
third of the crowd.
it
Like
was
a whole
like
section
at
was
least
doing
a
it.
third of the crowd, and then people started joining in as well.
It was
And
like hundreds of them.
and we were kind of like, what the fuck? Like,
Fuck
that's
is happening?
crazy. That's so
So
many.
we
Yeah.
all get up, start pulling the fingers at them.
Yeah.
Tell us
And
all.
I'm sitting there with the helmet. I'm giving the finger, and they're like, "Fuck you,
Shit talking
Swagger."
back.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Fuck you," and I take my helmet off. There's the balaclava chainmail, and then I just hear people go like, "Ah," like that.
And then you hear it start up again. You just hear, "Suckles are
No, that wasn't that when.
No, I thought it was after you, immediately after you.
Yeah, maybe.
It doesn't matter the order.
Yeah. So what happened was Mason, Jay, and Matt got a beer in plastic cups, and then they all stood up and held their beer in the air. And then, when people noticed, they all started to cheer.
The whole
and then
crowd was like, yeah.
and then they started to chug it. They chugged the entire beer, and then Mason finished his, and he threw it from the suite just down into the stadium. But it was in an area where like nobody was sitting.
It's just
so
like a
it's
plastic
not-
cup. It's not like a
Yeah,
steel
it's a
bottle. It's
plastic
fine.
cup.
And at these events, because of the stadium that it's held at and their rules, they don't let you you're not allowed to chug beers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
and you're
can't
not allowed
chug.
you're obviously not allowed to throw cups around and stuff.
And he did both.
They do these because it's obviously a safety hazard. And because of that, when they catch people doing this, they
kick them out.
The security guards come down and kick them out. So the crowds just started chanting,
Kick them out.
"Kick him out!
Well,
Kick him
it
out!"
started with Zuckles a retard, right? Yeah. Eventually turned into kick him out. And again, this was like half the crowd at
Yeah.
least making all this noise. Like it was filling
was
the stadium.
unreal.
If you were watching the Twitch stream, you could actually hear them chanting it in the background
Yeah.
while the casters were talking.
And-
So that was nuts.
Then right after that, we're all sitting down, we're all chilling out, and then they go to gate 15,
Yeah.
and then we're
We're
like,
like, what the fuck is that?
yeah, we're like, oh, the gate 15,
gate. They
and
want us to
so
come
we're
down.
like, should we go down? And then Mason's like, yeah, why not? And so we got up,
And they
then as soon as we
screamed.
got up, the half
Literally-
to 3/4 of the stadium was just cheering.
They were screaming. They were so
It was fucking
excited.
surreal.
And at this point, I was like, security is not going to like this at all.
Yeah.
But we walk out of our suite, which is on the top floor, and we
Going down the
we
stairs.
start going down the stairs, and then we just hear footsteps and screaming like, yeah, and it was
They
a
were just
stampede of
screaming.
fans.
It was literally like a zombie movie. Just seeing like a
It was
crowd.
World
of
War
them
Z,
come up.
dog. It was
It's
a
just
lot
like
of
we
people.
just saw it and we're just like, nope, one
Yeah,
idiot
we
started
ran
running
back up.
We're
I
just
ran
like,
back
fuck
up the
that.
stairs. I thought we were gonna get mobbed.
Yeah, I thought they were going to run up to get us, but they stayed at the bottom of the stairs, and then we were kind of like, okay, like let's go down. Let's see
And
what's
then
happening.
Mason's of course the first one just to go in, balls in, just
Yeah.
like fuck it, I'm going in.
Beer in
gate
hand.
Beer in hand, go straight into the crowd. I'm
Fuck
like,
yeah.
all right, fuck it.
And
gate
yeah,
15.
we start walking with this mob of people.
That kept on getting bigger as we were
Yeah,
walking.
yeah,
In my
yeah.
head, I'm just thinking, we're getting kicked out. We're getting kicked out. We're getting
And
kicked
we're
out.
walking around like the lobby of the stadium, heading towards our gate, and the entire like huge group of hundreds of people that were with us were chanting and
Aussie,
shouting.
Aussie,
It was
Aussie.
crazy.
Oi, oi, oi.
Like I'm not even an Aussie. I was getting into it.
The boys were at the front, and me and Fitz were at the back.
We were kind
And
of in the middle.
You
like,
could just see all the security guards coming from all the doors,
Yeah.
just slowly walking in. A few of them like running towards the crowd, like, "What the fuck is
and the
happening?"
whole way we're getting stopped for pictures. Like as we're walking, is picture, walking towards the
gate,
tournament area, the stadium. And yeah, you guys, Swagger,
We were just
Mason,
all leading the
Jay,
charge.
and Matt at the front. Matt got through as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got footage. We've got so much
Yeah,
good
It's
footage
such good footage.
of them walking into the stadium, and the crowd starts going like
the boys.
like,
Yeah, they're like
the
bowing,
boys.
going.
Yeah, like
the
crazy,
boys.
you guys. Like literally,
literally
the
bowing
crowd was
down.
just like
Insane.
bowing.
It's very weird.
Fucking
And
weird.
then you guys got to take a seat.
Yeah,
Thank
the
God.
security guard cleared out a row for us to sit
Such a
down.
legend, that guy.
Yeah, he
yeah,
was
they were all
awesome
cheering for the
guy.
security guard.
And
at
while
one
you
point,
guys
too.
were
It was like,
walking in, they I think the security closed the doors.
Yeah.
because there was too many people going in there. And so Fitz and I couldn't get in, and I walk up to Fitz and I go, he's taking photos, and I'm like, Fitz, we should leave before security takes us away.
Yeah, and I
And-
was like, yeah. And then as soon as you
As
said
Fitz
it,
says yes, a security guard puts his hand on his shoulder and takes him away with the cops.
Oh.
and Sam was filming it,
po-po
and then she's
showed
like,
up.
"You can't film anymore." And he's like, "Oh shit!" So he puts his camera down.
yeah, we were
And
just in
then-
our seats, and one fan was just like,
Yeah.
"Oi, guys!" We're like, "What? This just got arrested!"
Like it was like
what?
It's just got arrested.
It's crazy.
And then they were like, "What? Free the boys? free the boys."
Fitz, free Fitz, free Fitz.
And yeah, me and Sam are just we get pushed aside, like not pushed, but we were kind of like
Escorted to an
escorted
elevator.
roughly to the side, and this guy who's just, I mean, obviously he's taking his job seriously.
Sure.
and
Yeah.
To
As he
him,
should.
it would have looked like he doesn't know what's going on. All he saw was a mob of people, so it's totally understandable. But
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
was like,
from
he
the
was like,
security guard's perspective,
would've
all
been
they saw
fucked.
was like a few hundred people running out of the stadium,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
would have looked like something really bad
Yeah.
had just happened.
yeah. And yeah, like he's giving us a talk. He's like, you guys have to understand, like we can't, like I know what you guys do, but it's like totally unacceptable. And we're like, yeah, no, 100%, man. Like we get it. I'm just hoping that like the police don't get involved and they start questioning us, because I was also fucking pretty high. Right. like I was in the pen. I was pretty high during this, but thankfully they were just like, okay, you got to go and you got to run up the stairs so no one stops you. And I was like, okay. So I just power walked up the steps, got back to the suite, and I looked down at the crowd, and immediately I see Mason's bright fucking fluorescent red hair and Swagger's helmet. I'm like, oh, they're still down there. That's awesome.
Yeah, we were on the Jumbotron a couple of times.
Yeah.
We were on stream. It was pretty good.
We were really concerned that security was going to confiscate our SSD cards, our SD cards from the cameras, so we'd lose all the footage. But